All right. Now, we're going to pick up here on a new thing, and this is the West and populism. This is the first one. So we're mainly going to talk about going west and why they wanted to go west, and then we'll talk about the Indians, and then we'll talk about how people thought about the Indians. Okay? So, here we go. Now, here we have an angel, and as you can see here, there's a whole lot of stuff here. We have covered wagons, we have going west, we have Indians, we have some type of ominous smoke, gunfire, etc. And we actually have some trains coming along with this. Um, this spirit, and what is she carrying in her hands here? It is the U.S. Constitution with all these democrats as we move west, okay? So the westward expansion of the U.S. across the thing was actually called Manifest Destiny. Basically, if you manifest something, you make it known, it's your destiny. So we made it known we wanted to go west. We didn't care who was there in our way, and there were some things we were after, and we'll get into those things here in a minute. Now, there is a major monument to commemorate this. If you might know what this is the Gateway Arch of St. Louis, because St. Louis was the gateway to the west. Missouri was as far as we had made it to this point, and so basically, if you went west of Missouri, you were in no man's land, and so you were kind of on your own to the Great Plains. And so there we have that. Now, why did we want to go west? Now, the first major reason, it's all about that gold, that money, right? California in 1849 actually had a gold rush where we wanted to go west. This is why San Francisco's football team is called the, 49ers, and why gold is one of their primary colors. Red, I don't know. I guess they just figured red and gold went good together. So the gold rush is the reason that people will start to move west in looking after these things. Now we come up across a town, and it's called the Comstock Lode, and the Comstock Lode was the largest, not gold, but silver mine. And so this is basically showing you how the mining operation worked. It was pretty intense, and we built all these homes, and then once the mine was done, it became a ghost town, meaning nobody lives in it. It's kind of creepy, okay? So they went after gold, they went after silver in these two places. Now, the next thing we have to go after is railroads become there, and we want cattle trails. There was, all these cattle, and so we're going to march these trails, and you can see how they're going up and down here, right? Down to these places, or up to these places here. Now, why are they going up to these places? These are railroad lines, people. And so we raised the cattle here on the open thing, and we would march them up the trail and then onto the slaughterhouses and the production of the people living in the east. And so that was a major purpose there. Now, as we embark on these cattle trails, we're getting into some new states here. Kansas, Nebraska, Indian Territory, yes, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming. And so this area of the country is known as the Great Plains. And so here you have it right there. It's called the Great Plains. Now, what is the Great Plains? This is kind of the central United States. It is a vast Indian territory, and it also becomes important in settling and setting up the railroad and many different things. Okay? Now, as we went into the Great Plains, we discovered there were Indians. And so Abraham Lincoln jumps on the gun here, and he decides, we want the Indians out. See, he has the thing, here we are, we're going to kick his butt, right? This is called the Indian Removal Act. And so this is where Abraham Lincoln designated that all Indian tribes should leave and should go on reservations. And we're going to talk about later on to the people who didn't want to. And so the question begs, if they're off their land, what do we want to do with it? Well, we want to settle it, okay? Iowa and Nebraska on sale for 10 years credit, 6% interest, low prices, all these different things. This was called the Homestead Act. And so basically what's going on here, the Homestead Act gave settlers vast amounts of land for little or no money at all, and all you had to do was stay there and work the land. Now the problem is, Great Plains is called plains for a reason. There aren't many trees. And so what they build their homes of? You ready for this one? They built it out of grass and sod. Now, if this is me, and then, there are people all over here, and my wife's a big one, that hates spiders. And so if you hate spiders, this is not the place for you. The other thing is, what about the heat? What about the cold? You're not really protected. And the biggest thing is, if there's a fire, you're toast. You're done. And so this is called a soddy. This is a typical Great Plains house of the homesteaders, as they were called. And the homesteaders, again, can participate in those Homestead Act. Now, as the homesteaders went there, not all Indians abandoned their lands, correct? And so we have a cultural clash. And the cultural clash is between the eastern settlers moving and these Indians who've been there for thousands of years and deciding this. A good movie to kind of explain that to you is one with Kevin Costner called Dances with Wolves. Awesome, awesome movie. But, I mean, it's not violent. Doesn't have a lot of cursing, so you probably wouldn't like it. But you need to go and check it out, all right? And so that's where we're going to leave this first little episode going here.